Gonna end up getting exasperated. That's what's gonna happen. You're gonna get burnt out. There's only so much fake information you could take. There's only so many games that you can allow to be played on you. There's only so many times you're gonna be played before you just gonna get exasperated. Coming to that point where you throwing in the towel. It's more than one way to throw in the towel though. You got one group that's just all out despair. They like, I give up, I quit, it's done, I can't move forward, I can't. Then you have another group who says, I give up, but I got something else up my sleeve that I think will work. Something that I haven't tried in forever. Something that I haven't given a shot. And I think I can make it with this. Look, it stands, the odds is probably in his favor anyway. I've tried one way for so long. The way that's allegedly prescribed to you. Do this, do A, B, C, very cookie cutter. Go here, do this, pursue that, be with this type, go pursue these type of things, acquire these type of items, live for this amount of years in this amount of ways, and then pass from the scene, and your legacy just rinse and repeat. But this will make you give up. If you're familiar with reincarnations, let's say you could prove that, and you came here 20,000 times and you just keep going to the same school, marrying the same type of girl, and what if you're aware of this all of a sudden? You're going to be stuck in blandness. So your eternity is going to be worse than death. Your eternal life is going to be worse than a brief life with fleeting moments. Because nobody wants to be stuck. Sometimes we like a challenge, even a tough challenge at times, but Nobody wants to feel stuck like they're in a labyrinth versus a maze. At least a maze has entrances and exits. You can get in and out of a maze. A labyrinth? Nah. It's closed off from both ends. You're usually dropped in a labyrinth. You're not typically dropped in a maze. You walk into a maze. But you get dropped into a labyrinth, or in this instance, maybe a societal labyrinth was really dropped on us. Like this open holographic playscape. Be this way, climb this way, dress this way, wear your hair this way, act this way, copy these shows, be like this person, be like that person. Look, since 2010, 2012, it's been a lot of that. It's been a lot of cloning, as they say. And cloning is still big now. But the superstars, those clones, it is what it is, whether you believe it or not. I don't think it's the most frightening part of the cloning. I think it's a more dangerous side to cloning than even the superstars. Alleged deaths and all. I think there's something more frightening than anything that any superstar has experienced in cloning. And that is how the average citizen is being cloned right now. But not so much like to copy a person. Like, I'm going to make another you. No. People are having their souls terraformed and having mad additions and compartments attached onto their soul that was never there before. Sometimes we call these downloads, but if the information affects you adversely, this download will bring you down low. If you can't handle the downloads as they come, if it's some very negative information that's going to bring your vibration down, then yeah, you're going to feel down low. You're going to feel like you've been brought low by the download. So there's two ways essentially to give up. You could look at all of this and say, look, I'm not going to try. I'm going to stay. Please let that be the only way, that I can go on. Like, maybe I can stand still and let things around me change. Or again, you say, look, I'm going to change things. I'm going to put my foot forward. The extreme case of both of these is wrong, though. If you standing still and you're not moving a muscle, not trying a thing, not thinking a thought, not trying nothing, you're not going to get anything. And you're just going to be sitting there getting more and more mad and more bitter and more impatient and experiencing more and more soul loss. Now, Action Jackson can't stay in their seat, is going to look at the person who's an armchair shrink and say, you ain't putting the legwork out there. And they're right, but they're also wrong, because this the kind of person that don't think about nothing. They just hit the ground running. Their acronym is KIM at all times. Keep it moving. A rolling stone gathers no moss. Ain't nothing gonna grow on them. They can't grow a life. They're not the type of people that you can build a life with. They're not stable. They're not steady. They're not consistent. They just move. That's all they do. All they can promise you is movement. You don't want to be resistant to change, because change is inevitable, but constant change, all the time, drastic change, that's not a good thing. That's just straight up dysfunction. That's all that is. You got to be going with the flow, yeah, but if the seas are always choppy, everybody on the boat going to get sick. There's got to be smooth sailing sometimes, or else what? Like I said in the beginning, people are going to become exasperated and they're going to give up. The soul going to break and life going to cave in on them and they're going to die young. This happens. People can really die, and they really do, without no aid of anything from the outside but a real suggestion. Because they know they can't make it. A lot of people are dead already, even though they're still breathing. Because they gave up a long time ago. They know they don't have the ambition to become smart. They know it's too late for them to get smart. They know that they believe it's too late for them to get smart. It's not too late for them to learn and get a better brain. But yeah, they're going to have to get a better brain. And a lot of us are going to have to get better hearts and better minds. And I'm not saying a person's mind is filthy and a person's heart is dark. No, I'm not looking at it through that lens. I'm saying if life is all about getting up, get up when you fall down. That's 50% of it. But the bigger part is try to live a life where you fall down as least amount of times as possible. That's more of a life worth bragging about than a person who's got all the scars from having done all the falls. Nobody outfell me. Well, yeah, you look stupid being the person who outfell everybody. Take it from me. No, we're not going to take it from you. You're going to be the example of what not to do. And you think you're teaching people in your ignorance. You're not teaching anybody anything but what not to be. And that's dangerous. That's dangerous for people. You don't want to be that person with all of the experience and none of the wisdom. These things are not synonymous. Wisdom and experience are not the same thing. Just because you experienced a whole bunch of things, that doesn't make you wise. It just means you experienced something. What if you never learned your alphabet? What if you never got past D? ABC. What if you never made it past ABC? What if you never made it past ABC? You could say you have more experience in dealing with ABC than anybody else. You can say you experienced A, B, and C more than anything else. But what you cannot say is you're wise enough to know the alphabet. And this is the problem with people becoming exasperated. You have the side that is completely inert, afraid to move. Just a bomb is going to blow up what do they say in the scriptures? The slothful man's way is covered with briars and thorns. They can't even make a move. Everything in their life is ouch. It pokes them. But then you have the other person on the other extreme. Both extremes are wrong. Extreme. Both of these is leading them to ruin. Got the other person that's saying, hey, if I run into this brick wall enough times, it will eventually break. Yeah, it will, but not before your bones do. I know this is going to sound bad, but there's no prize for being a stupid survivor. Yeah, nobody's been through what I've been. Look, I've been stupid. There's no reward in that. There's no reward in the scars that come from being stupid. it's more honorable and more praiseworthy to be a person who's been through very few bruisings, because they're willing to learn by listening and reading. They don't have to touch the stove when it's hot in order to feel what fire's like. They're not curious enough about getting burned, about getting hurt. They don't feel like they must know. So that's what it is. The path to exasperation. There's a lot of people that just want to go, they want to try it themselves. And that failure to trust, I guess, is inherent in the human condition. I mean, we've been betrayed so many times, we're going to choose our own way, even if the advice we're hearing sounds and is better than our own advice for ourselves. We're still going to choose our own way. That's why I present a lot of my videos in a certain way, because I know ultimately you're going to make your own decision, and ultimately go ahead and do that. All I'm here is to present scenarios and alternatives. Maybe you could try this, maybe you could try that. These are just suggestions. And if there's one thing that'll keep you from giving up, for those who don't want to give up, I know I showed you about a video earlier about how to give up and when and why, but there are certain things that you should never give up about. So conversely, this is that side of what never giving up does is it prevents you from really being exasperated. It's the suggestions. If the suggestions can continue to be auto-suggested, preferably auto-suggested, you to yourself, this is going to keep you from giving up. It's hard to give up when you're curious. It's hard to throw in the towel when you're curious. Because when you're curious, you like, what if? And it's the what ifs that keep driving you. You like, I ain't made it through my what ifs. Yeah, I'm tired of losing. I failed 500 times in a row, but I just found 500 more different little ways to try something. It looks like insanity from the outside, but you're not doing the same thing, expecting a different result. Each time you try, you're doing something different. And now instead of a pass fail, you are measuring success. You have what is called a margin of error. You're measuring success. Each time you're getting more and more accurate. Each time you're getting more and more sharp. Each time you practice, you're getting better, more comfortable, more smooth. You're getting stronger. You're getting right. You're making your bones. You're stacking your bricks. You're solidifying your foundation. You're gaining your mobility, notoriety, respectability. And these things are important to the self, to the soul self. See, this is why a lot of us as content creators, we can end up running dry, because if we were only in this to try and razzle dazzle people and make it sound like we know something that's coming from a whole different universe and galaxy only, it's nobody going to follow us. They're not going to follow us to where they don't know. I'm going to take you to the 19th, 21st galaxy, the 58th solar system. I'm going to take you to planet. That's the name of it. You can't even spell it. It starts with 10 apostrophes. You can only keep people strung along for so long before they just going to go ahead and watch whatever's on Netflix and whatever's on these other smart TV apps for them to watch. They got sci-fi as a genre. They don't need to hear it from you. Especially if you're not a prolific storyteller, and you're going to end up exasperating anybody who put their trust in you. They're going to give up. They're going to walk away because they know when people are burnt out. We all get burnt out. No car drives forever. We all got to fill that thing up. It's going to need fuel. It's going to need an oil change. We have to rejuvenate as we upgrade. We got to take the information to heart. We can't just cram it in our minds. We got to put it into our heart so we can practice it, put it into useful practice. We want to make it real. We don't just want to know a whole bunch of stuff. In fact, life can be harder for you knowing more truth. You're better off being stupid and making mistakes than to be told all the answers, but you decided not to follow the answers. That makes you look doubly stupid. That's worse than stupid. That's stupid squared. That's stupid cubed. That is the epitome of stupidity. That is true ignorance. See, a lot of people like to hide behind the unlearned card. And a lot of times we hide behind the unlearned card when we call ourselves making a valid excuse. Oh, I didn't know. Clutching on to the unlearnedness. No, you've been told this over and over and over. You're being ignorant. You're not unlearned. You're ignorant. And you don't want to be ignorant. An unlearned person might catch it, drop of a dime. You might only need to tell them something once, and they writing it down. They going over it. They rehearsing it because they don't want to give up. They are living by the suggestions. It's by the statutes and the commands that I live. Ain't that what the Psalms say right in the middle in those late 118, 119? By your commands and your statutes. These commands, suggestions, rules, they give you flavor in life. That's why I say a lot of people who don't have a lot of education, the right education, not just book smarts, but the right education, they can live a little more expansively, and life means more than just being an animal that's caught on the trap, released out the trap, caught in the snare, released from the snare, caught, devoured, recycled, reborn, caught, devoured, recycled, reborn. For a lot of us, that's what we're going through in life. We just keep getting knocked down over and over and over. So much so that we think that that's what life's about. We actually think, yeah, well, life has its ups and its downs. Life has its ups and its downs, but your life does not have to have as many downs as it does. Let's just let's be honest with ourselves. You don't give up on trying to avoid as many downs as possible. You're not being realistic. Up follows down. I'm not claiming that. Those are aspects of a former demiurge. That's part of that old checkerboard floor again. For every bright day, there has to be a dark one. Light has to be side by side with shadow. And this is false. Unless you got a building standing in front of you at noon. I don't think you do. You got to get some straight up light or some straight up darkness. It ain't going to always be this obstruction, this line of demarcation. All this comparison and contrast. No. Self-focus. Doesn't matter what all of these people told you. Who cares what you were told? Are you following the instructions? Who cares where it came from? Does it resonate with the people who are listening to you? Can they take that information and use it? Is it something they can really apply? Or are you just talking a whole bunch of madness and nonsense? And are you just making excuses to try to get the attention off of you and more on what you think is an acquisition of academia? That's not cool. And when you play with like people's minds like that, like that's not cool. That's just not the way, that's not the way to go. And you'll end up coming across like a taskmaster. So yeah, I want to spend a little bit of time on this one and really just walk y'all through this, because this is how much important it is to hold on versus giving up, that I really want to spend like 20 minutes really going over how important it is to keep going. But it's not so cut and dry as I'm going to keep going because I choose to. And you think you're going to make that choice once and be consistent? Nah, it's called a lifestyle change for a reason. If it's not on your mind all day, every day, you're kidding yourself. I'm going to change. Not if you say it once a month, you won't. You're saying it once a day, you're not going to change. Twice a day, you're not going to change. 3 times a day, 4 times a day, 5 times, 6, 7, 8, 9. Maybe. If you're doing it maybe 25, 30 times, 40 times, 50 times. I know I don't. I fail Tons of times just skipping over the little stuff. I do the same thing. Being double stupid. Being ignorant. Not unlearned. I know better. Being ignorant. Ignoring. Let it burn. Let it burn. Let your stupidity burn. I let my stupidity burn. Let it burn. Don't skip over it so fast. No, really let that dunce hat, let it put a do-rag line right there on the forehead. Let the dunce hat sit. Let the dumpster truck juices soak. Let them soak in. That's what it is. Part of accountability is really feeling the pain for your F-ups. Don't just skip over, hey, we all make mistakes. Nobody's perfect. No. Slow down and let your failure sink in so you can really understand humility and practice, and not just a flowery word you use in and out of church around saints. No, humility. This is why these folks don't have any honor, because they didn't go through the humility. Humility precedes honor. And we're not talking about being a doormat, you understand, being a pushover. Not that kind of humility. That's not the same thing. That's just being a pushover, but being really humble. Really humble. Humble to say that I know a lot of stuff, but what I know is nothing in comparison to what I'm learning and going to learn. That kind of attitude should keep you humble enough. That should keep you humble enough. Honor follows that kind of humility, because honor is so flexible. It's not just winning a war in somebody else's country and you get an honor, that's your honor, or being on the honor roll. There's so many different ways to live honorably. So, a ton of different ways to be honorable in so many different situations. But humility opens up the areas in the brain that allows for creative thoughts and creative problem-solving abilities to be released. If you feel like you know it all, your mind is closed. You're not going to be open. You're not opening up your mind. You're not freeing your mind. Be careful too. That's a difference. There's a difference between an open mind and a free mind. You want to have an open mind, not a free mind. Because there's a lot of people who take free. Before you even put it on the shelf, your mind will be lost already. Let it be an open mind, not a free mind. No, your mind's priceless. Nobody could buy that. Don't sell it. You can share what's on your mind, but don't throw away your mind. Keep your mind open. Don't keep it free. All of this, I'm saying all of this to keep you from giving up. To keep me from giving up. To keep us from giving up. I know you want to give up. And when it comes to some people who won't change, yeah, you need to give up on them. You need to walk away. It's probably time for you to leave them. It's probably time for you to walk away from that thing, that career, that person, that perspective, that belief system. It's probably time for you to walk away from all of that. Or at least look in another direction and just see like, okay, well, this road is full of riotous debris. Let me see what's down the other way of these crossroads. The crossroads go in 4 directions. I'm only coming from one direction. The crossroads, I'm coming from one direction, and I got 3 to choose from. I can either keep going straight, take a left, or take a right. I'm not going to go back where I came from, though, because I'm arriving at the crossroad. You're arriving at the crossroad. Which way you going to go from here? You can go straight, you can go left, or you could go right. Some people go back. Some people go back. Or some people, I guess, maybe they don't move at all. You don't want to do this. because the same way these crossroads are literally set up in middle America, you didn't see any street lights for miles. And you really running risk standing at a crossroads at sundown. What you think, the light gonna be up forever? What you think? Certain people's content creation, their pages, you think their pages gonna be up forever? There's a lot of people closing down shop. What you think, is a lot of people on your favorite sites, you think they're gonna be there forever? You don't think some of the people who are like being whistleblowers, you think they're gonna be up forever? You don't expect any of them to be either compromised, wiped out, shut down. You don't expect any of that. You just think that the same leaders, you think your leaders are going to live forever? You think we're going to be around forever? Look, if we're subscribing to the whole idea that life is short, then we should put more impact and more emphasis on life if it's short. But if you feel like you're going to live forever, well, now we starting to talk about getting exasperated again and getting tired of suggestions and wanting to be more free-minded and not open-minded. I'm just going to let it be free. I'm not going to, you know what I mean? I don't want to place it nowhere. It's free. I'm not going to apply it to nothing. It's just going to be a loose mind. Whoever is the next highest bidder can take my mind because it's free. It ain't open. It's free. The open mind has to close sometimes and say, you know what? What the people are presenting as suggestions, they are so antithetical to suggestions that have led me toward positive progress in my life that I'm going to go ahead and close my mind to those things. Even though I have an open mind, I'm going to choose to close my mind to taking, their word as law. I'll take their word because they spoke it. But before I begin to apply it, I'm going to have to redefine it in a way that's going to be more beneficial for myself and others. If the suggested thing be truly that antithetical. All of this in helping you not to give up. All of this in helping me not to give up. You don't want to give up. Don't give up. Do not give up. Not if it's something you really believe in. You can give up on the some ones because people change. You don't know what their motives are. They probably only, you know what I mean? They probably was only in your corner for what you could have been to them. But that dream that you have, that thing that you were good at since you were a kid, that's going to be more of an important thing to you than anybody in your life that you come across. Your gift, that comes without repentance. It's not even based on whether you deserve it or not. So why not use it? Like, this is like having a magic power on the house. Everybody has 1 or 2 or 3 or whatever it is. Everybody good at something. Take a shot on it. No matter how crazy or wild you look, just take a shot on it if it's something that you really believe. I don't always feel like doing the videos and doing the lessons. I have whole entire months, maybe even years on here where I think it's pointless. It ain't going to stop me from putting 15, 16-hour days in trying to convince myself of the opposite and prove the opposite. It ain't going to stop me from trying. You doing it, how long? You know what people still tell me all kind of outrageous stuff. You should quit. You shouldn't do, why are you doing it this way? They got all of the suggestions. Ask me how many of them they tried that's working for them right now. I'll wait. Because it be like that. That's how hecklers are. Everybody in your team is not producers. You might have people in your team that's just hecklers. They just on a soapbox. They're not trying any of this stuff. They don't have any ads if that's what they're claiming. I want to get it from ads. And they might have, 9, like their metrics might be close to it where they could get it, but you could see that they're that they are not pushing for that. And this is considering that they have the space and time in their life. I'm not saying that this is all they have time for. No, but you can probably sense when a person is giving it all versus when they're not. You could sense that, or when a person is cruising, or when things have been altered and made to look real when they're not real. Still, as authentic creators, we still gotta swim through that too, all of those weeds too. Of, you know what I mean? We can tell who's growing organically, and who cut the check to get the ads to run. Like, yeah, we got commercials now. Look, if your videos are good enough, they'll run ads on it anyway, even if you don't got the metrics. Like, if the quality is that high, look, you'd be surprised. You'd be surprised what kind of videos you could get ads on. And it'd be the ones you least expect. It'd be like a one-worder. You'd be like, what? I got a commercial on that? Yes, something's going to come to you because they split that. Keep making work that people can believe in. There's nothing wrong with that. And if they don't, if it doesn't reach them, either go to another message, another topic, or find ways to make things more real for them. Either way, we want to keep you from giving up. We're not going to force you to stay in a fight that you don't want to fight. Nope. We're just going to show you more and more tools, more and more techniques, more and more weapons to allow you to conquer whatever enemy presents itself in your life, situational-wise, mentally, because they're coming. They're coming in bigger numbers than ever. Look at the time we in. It's bot mania. It's more bots offline than are online. There are more bots offline than, more bots offline than online. You'll find more crash outs, tap outs, walkouts in the world than you will online. And it wasn't even that bad 5 to 10 years ago. The majority of the bots was still pretty much in their echo chambers online still. But now it's a mask. It's really Ready Player One in real life. When we put these phones down and when you close your computer screen or whatever, you cut your computer off or go start texting somebody on your phone, look up and look out your window. We in a wasteland. I don't care if you in Vegas, Dubai, Los Angeles. Societally speaking, as of 2023, summer of 2023, late July of 2023, we are in a wilderness. This is not the desert of the real. This is the desert of the unreal. We're sitting on a red ficus and we're creating a whole world online without reaching anybody offline. Like, our messages aren't even geared to the idea of offline reality. And that's what we were supposed to be here to do in the first place. If you're going to call yourself a content creator or a teacher, anybody who helps, you saying stuff online that's going to benefit a person offline. This is what I thought it was about. Or at least this is what Sigma programming is about. Giving you stuff online that can help you both online and offline. Because before I was online, this very same mission is what I did offline. So my purpose hasn't changed. The only difference is now, instead of standing in front of a crowd of 1,000 or 700 people or however many people, I just get to do it in front of however many people eventually watch this video. And it's even easier because realistically, I'm only just looking at myself. Although as I look at the screen, I feel all of you. So I'm imagining myself not looking at me at the screen, but looking at all of you through the screen, because I'm used to talking to a group of people. And essentially, this is what it is. So it's not a problem there. All of this is me saying, hey, don't give up. Super T Sigma, Sigma Programming. Much love. Peace.